Well, I thought caller number one there looks.
I kind of knew you were going to do that, and I was going to go in a slightly different direction, but I think we lost my caller who was calling in to ask me why I'm atheist and not agnostic. But
yeah, I was thinking of that one too, but yeah, I didn't see him when I was looking at him, but yeah, we've answered that one so many times that we could probably find 10 different recordings of you.
Probably. Plus, I've got a video of it on my atheist debates thing. But we have Emyn in Ohio who wants to tell us how the Monty Hall problem proves there's almost certainly no God. How you doing, Emyn?
I'm good. Thank you for taking my call, Matt, Jim.
Hello. So, could you start with explaining what the Monty Hall problem is for those people who don't know?
Maybe if I set up the hypothesis, though, this might go a little bit better, but I'll do it if that's what you think I'd do best. I'll do it that way. So the Monty Hall problem is the game show from the past, and the host would show you 3 doors, A, B, or C, and he would ask you to, there'd be a prize behind one of them, and then I think there were goats behind the other 2. And he would ask you to pick a door. And so you'd say, well, I don't know, I got a 1 in 3 shot here. I'll go with door A. I've always liked the letter A, and my wife's middle initial is A, so let's go with A. And the host would say, oh, really, A? Well, let me show you what's behind door B. So he'd open door B, and you'd find out that there's a goat there. And so then you're going, oh, well, cool. So then the host would ask you a question, and he would ask you, do you want to change your vote now? You want to switch from door A to door C. And you're thinking, well, no, I don't want to switch my vote. I had a 1 in 3 shot before, and now it's 50-50. So my chances have improved, you know, and I've always loved the letter A, and my wife is never wrong, so I'll stick with A. And this is intuitively what you should be doing. Is it feels like your chances have increased, but the truth of the matter is that your chances have not increased at all. And what you're seeing here is a false choice between it's either A or it's C, but really is it A or is it B or C? And so the chance you're correct remains at 1/3 chance, and the chance that you're wrong is 2/3 C. So you really should be absolutely switching your vote at this point.
Right.
Sure.
And this is a problem that they've gotten wrong a lot. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, anybody can go. You can go to Wikipedia and look this up. You can find YouTube videos that describe this. I remember hearing about it, you know, when I was much, much younger. It was Marilyn Vos Savant or whatever had written an article about it, and people couldn't believe that, you know, that you should switch and all this other stuff. There's a number of ways to describe it. What I want to know is, what the hell does this have to do with a God belief?
That's a great question. So I think this comes up a lot when people come and call in and ask you about like Pascal's wager, and I'm going to talk specifically about a call that happened with you guys back in, say, September. But people consider it to be, and I'm just because I want to be crystal clear, I'm going to say, did God create the universe, right? So people think it's either God created the universe or it's not God created the universe. And like literally in September, you had a caller with.
That's true.
Yeah.
Either God created the universe or God didn't create the universe. That's true. That's just a straight dichotomy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That is true. And but people like they see it as 50-50, but it's not 50-50, is it? I mean, you obviously knew this. You talked about this in that phone call that I'm referencing from a long time ago. It's more akin to, is it yellow or is it not yellow, right? There's yellow things, and then there's red and orange things, and then there's all the other things that, like, you know, yellow doesn't even make sense.
This is still nothing like the Monty Hall problem.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Like I said, you threw me off by having me do that part first, so let me try to get there. So I'd like to explore what is the chance that God created the universe, and what I'm going to do is assume a high chance that a God created the universe and a very low chance that not God created the universe. Okay? So just because we're talking on a phone call here, I'm going to keep the numbers kind of simple, but they're obviously more complex than this. But out of 1 out of 100 chance, let's give 1 out of 100 is the not God side. We're assuming a very low chance something not God created the universe. This is where you'd find your universe creating pixies and stuff. And let's assume a very high chance a God created the universe. So the 99 chance out of 100 a God created the universe. And just to be fair, because obviously you and I don't have a horse in this race, we'll give 1 chance to every God we can think of. The God of the Bible, the God of the Quran, the God of the Torah, Norse gods, Native Americans gods, Tom Cruise's gods.
No, pause. You just completely screwed this up to where it's completely untenable. You cannot have 99 options that a God created the universe and then assign 1 to each individual God, because only one of those can actually be correct. So you only have a 1 in 98 now, given your example. You've already screwed up the math and options on this.
I'm not following what you mean there. No, I'm saying just artificially, we're giving those chances.
Stop.
Yep.
And listen. You started by saying that there's only a 1% chance that no God did it, and there's a 99% chance that some God did it, and you're going to assign each of those 99 options to 99 different gods. But the fact is, only one of those 99 could actually be correct. So your example is 1% that a specific God did it, and 98%, sorry, is that some other God didn't do it, and the 100%, the last option, is that no God did it, which is identical to the others. You
Right.
inverted everything by assigning everything to a God.
Well, again, so this is just because we went backwards. But now, if we see this, we can relate this to the Monty Hall. We basically have 3 doors.
It's not. Go ahead, Jim.
So there's a couple of problems that I'm having. One, you're assigning odds, but part of the Monty Hall problem, in fact, the part that makes it significant or significantly interesting, is that the host is opening a door he knows has the goat behind it. Right?
Yes.
So in your example, where is the host opening a door he knows opens to, and I don't know if you're trying to say not a God or a God, to the wrong door.
Yeah.
Where does that happen?
Absolutely. So again, we're just assuming a high chance of a God did it to try to assume the opposite of what we believe, that no God.
So
You're not. Because when you list off 99 gods and assign them to each of the 1% probability that each of those gods have, you're overlooking the fact that only one of those gods is going to be the right one. So now you have a 1% chance that a God did this.
Correct. And that's where I'm going with this. I don't believe that a God did it. I'm saying when you choose.
Yeah, it's not the Monty Python.
A God door.
No, stop, Em. You stop. You've completely fucked the math. You don't get to start by saying you're going to give an incredibly low percentage to not God, an incredibly high percentage to God, when in truth, you are giving an incredibly high percentage, 99% to not the actual God, and a 1% to the actual God. So you, through your example, have already fucked up the math and inverted it so that there's now a 1% chance that a God did it.
Yeah, and you're making assumptions.
And that's what
I don't know where the assumptions are coming from.
The assumption is just basically like, let's try to prove the opposite. Let me try to prove my point that it's probably not God by assuming the opposite. That's what you do in mathematical.
You're not.
Stop. You are not assuming the opposite. You set up a scenario where there's a 99% chance that the 1% chance that a God did it, and a 99% chance that God didn't do it. That's the scenario you've set up.
And that's what I'm saying is what happens when you do that. Even when you assign an incredibly high probability that it is a God, when you go to choose a door, all of that gets assigned over into the not God side now. So no matter what God you choose, all of that other chance is now hidden behind the other door.
No. So, because your example of the Monty Hall problem doesn't work here. Because what you would have, and let's assume there are 99 gods, and then that 100th is the other door, is you're going to open the door on one of the gods you know didn't do it, or one of the doors that the gods didn't do it. The problem is that if you're saying that's not, you're not reducing the odds by the same amount as you do with just a third, and you still have 99 other doors that need to be opened in order to reduce the odds anywhere near what you're talking about.
Not you, but a person. I'm sorry. You as a person, when you go to choose, when I say, hey, and I'm not saying it's 99 other gods, I'm assuming all the other gods are in there, right? So whatever one you want, but just trying to keep the math easy, right? When you go, okay, I pick, it's Jesus.
I'm done.
Yeah, so here's the problem. Again, who is Monty Hall? Who's the host opening doors?
The person themselves. The person who
No, that's not the way that's not the way it works. No,
because then they realistically are closing all those other doors.
Stop. I've muted you now. Please go think about this. Maybe consider putting together an email and sending it to somebody, because this is literally the second stupidest fucking thing that I've heard today. And the most stupid thing that I've heard today is that slavery wasn't that bad because slaves could run away. So you're at a high water mark here. You say we're going to give a low percentage chance to not God and 99% to God. And then you fill in all those with gods, except for one of them, with gods that didn't do it. You also don't understand the Monty Hall problem. It's essential that the person opening the door knows that they're opening to reveal a goat. And so of the 99 gods, 98 of them are goats. You have managed to trick yourself into thinking you've discovered something that disproves God, which, by the way, if you began with a probability of 1% that no God created the universe and a 99% chance that God did do it, there is literally no fucking way in mathematics and in the world that you can get to a point where you can, according to what your call screener said, demonstrate through the Monty Hall problem that there's almost certainly no God if you began with a 99% probability of a God. Right. You have managed to work yourself into so much confusion that this is now a waste of time.
Yeah, and the other problem that you have is that there are two people involved in the Monty Hall problem. The first one is Monty Hall, the guy opening the door. The second one is the guesser. So you're having the guesser and the Monty Hall person, it sounds like to me, playing the same role, and you can't do that. Someone needs to open the door. So who's opening the door to reduce the odds and to play the game? And you don't have that. So yeah, I'm not sure that doesn't fly with me. And the assigning of percentages, that's really, really iffy for me as well.
It is, and again, the idea is meant to be that I'm going to assume the thing I don't believe is true is true.
Well, that doesn't
give it the greatest chance of being possible.
But that's not how you even come close to playing the Monty Hall game.
Are false.
You didn't do that. You didn't give it the chance. You have one God that could be it, and 98 gods that can't be it, and one that's a non-God. You are incredibly confused. We're going to move on.
Yeah.
Thank you.